Yes.
Yes. Okay. Hi, everybody. Ah, sorry. Mercury retrograde. Can you see me now? Hold on a second. Hope everybody can see me now. It looks like I'm live. Yeah, if you're there, please say hi. It's Tara Greene here. I'm Agent 129 in Toronto, Canada. I was trying to do this through my own broadcasting, but didn't want to go. Okay, please say hi, everybody, and let me know where you are. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Hi, Davey. How are you? I'm going to wait a few minutes then, because we have had this a bit of a Mercury retrograde snafu. It has something to do with my energy. Um, I tend to screw up computers most of the time. Anyway, and it's not like we didn't try to get this together sooner. So I'm waiting for everybody to come on. Was speaking to Yulia there at the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. So wait a second. Hi from Mexico. Okay, good. Hi from Arizona, my favorite state. Doing great. Glad to hear that. Okay, everybody. So I'll just wait for people to come on. Please say hi. Let me know where you're from. It's really nice to meet you. Hi from Newfoundland. Okay, that's better. Okay, Cosmic Intelligence Agency. Yeah, that's way better. Yeah, so I'll just wait a few minutes here for people to come on. Again, I'm Tara Greene. I'm Agent 129 of the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. If you haven't been here before, welcome, welcome. And this is a monthly broadcast that I've been doing for many, many years now for the CIA. And so what I will do, sorry, hi from New York. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to smudge people. Happy September. Yes, happy September. Isn't hard to believe it's September already. We're in the 9th month and we're getting ready to go into the last quarter of the year when the sun enters Libra on the equinox very soon. So yeah, it seems like where is it gone now? So I'm just smudging everybody virtually. I'm going to smudge my special crystal that I'm going to use for this as well. So if you haven't been here before, the format is like this. I will talk about the major astrology aspects between the planets. I'm going to read them off. I'll make a little commentary. And then I will use my tarot deck here. I use the Thoth deck. And this is my big deck here. And I will pull cards for each sun sign, and you can use your moon sign, your rising sign, your Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, if you want, also as guidance for those as well. Okay, so, all right, whoops, and I just dropped a card. Okay. Um, all right, so when a card jumps out, that's usually a sign. We got to pay attention. Okay, so this was the card of the Empress, which is Venus. And Venus is going to be real busy this month. She's going to go through 2 signs. So she's very busy and flirty and active. Okay, so, all right. So September. Okay, the astrology overview is like this. There's going to be lots of love changes as Venus changes sign twice. She enters Virgo on September the 4th, where she's going to be very practical. Hi, Susan, my friend Susan up there in Pemberton, BC. It's a very practical love. It's great for back to school to have Venus in Virgo because everybody's going to love going back to school and getting cleaned up and taking care of the details and all of that stuff. Okay, but watch your digestion. So anytime planets are in Virgo, I find that your digestion is affected quite strongly. I mean, you are what you eat, right? Okay. And then Venus will enter Libra, its home sign, on September the 29th. So Virgo, Libra, and Pisces, you are featured this month. This is your big month, okay? Now, we all know, as I mentioned here, Mercury is turning retrograde on September the 9th at 8:37 p.m. That's Pacific Daylight Time at 8 degrees 55 minutes, to be precise, of Libra until October the 2nd at 5:07 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 24 Virgo, 22 minutes. So, we have to be Virgo precise there. So as Mercury turns retrograde on September 9th, there will then be 6 planets retrograde plus Vesta, the asteroid, name of my new cat, Juno as well, the sign of feminine genius, goddess of marriage and childbirth, and Chiron, all retrograde. So that's a lot. So don't try to push that river, okay? It's time to rest, to renew, to relax. So on September the 10th, there's a full moon in Pisces, 17 degrees plus. Okay, the Libra Equinox is September 22nd at 6:03 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 9:03 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and September the 23rd if you're in Greenwich Mean Time, okay, and in Australia time. So on September 23rd, Mercury will re-enter Virgo, doing the backward shuffle there, 5:04 a.m. PDT. And then September 25th, the new moon's in Libra at 2:54 a.m. at 2 degrees 48 minutes, which is connected to something called the super galactic center. September 29th, again, Venus enters Libra, her home sign, 12:48 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And September 29th, Ceres enters Virgo. Now, Ceres is the goddess that's represented as the sign of Virgo. So a lot about the environment, about harvesting, about food. There's a lot of knowledge about that in the world right now. So you want to pay attention to the harvest and to bringing home the harvest and making sure that you're watching what you eat. And growing your own food, I would say, is a good thing, paying attention to all those details. And it's the sign of worry as well. Getting the job done, you know, little OCD, okay, very practical, very humble, humility. Okay, so the astrological details. On September the 1st, Gemini Mars sextiles Jupiter. You know, sextiles are nice, easy aspects. So Mars is action and Jupiter's expansion. So that's easy for fast pitches or advertising. Now, on the same day, Venus is in conjunct Pluto. So when planets are in conjunct, or quincunx, a word I love, they're in each other's blind spots. So Venus has to do with wealth and money and power and relationships, and Pluto is the lord of transformation, of death and rebirth. So that can be some blindsided energy also, because Venus and Pluto are both about wealth and finances. It could be a kind of not such a great day in the market. Well, that's actually today already. September the 2nd, Venus in conjunct Pluto in EDT, so it happens tomorrow. Venus opposes Vesta at 27 Leo, Aquarius. Again, this is financial things. Vesta is the root word of investments. So again, maybe you want to look over your investments. You want to make sure you're putting your money into something that's practical. Let's put it that way, as practical as we can these days. Okay, also on the 2nd, Libra Mercury opposes Jupiter at 6 degrees. Those are big relationship issues. You can talk about relationships or try to find some harmony and balance, of course, because Libra is not naturally balanced. They're seeking the balance. They have to hold the tension between the opposites. On September the 4th and the 5th, Venus enters Virgo. Okay, again, budgets, health, digestion, organization, worrying, being of service, humility, pets, community. The sign of Virgo is a hermit in the tarot, number 9. So you want to go more withdrawn, more earthy. It's good to be in nature. Walk barefoot on the earth. It is incredibly healthy for you. So here, well, it's still warm here in the northern hemisphere. I know it's the opposite, of course, down in the southern hemisphere. We're getting ready to go to autumn. You're getting ready to go into spring. On September the 5th, again, Venus enters Virgo, 12:05 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. On the 7th, the Sun, the solar source, is in conjunct Chiron and Aries. So we may be blindsided by some sudden wounding or healing or vulnerability that comes up. But, you know, you want to embrace that. Hi from Australia and hi from Florida. On the 9th, Mercury stations retrograde. So, you know, we're already in the shadow period. I think that's been going on since August 26th. You know, just take the time out to rest, to renew, especially while Mercury is in Virgo. Like maybe our minds need a big mental break. Hi from Oregon. Nice to see you. You know, review any writing, any rewriting, anything like that that you want to do. Okay, so again, September 9th to October 2nd. The full moon, September 10th, 17 degrees Pisces, 5:58 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Full moon in Pisces, it's very much a completion. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. And so think about what you've completed over a whole year of full moons, okay? And it's very spiritual and very psychic and very sensitive and very dreamy, good for meditation, for visualization. It's probably the most powerful for dreaming, lucid dreaming, things like that, soulmates, spiritual work, compassion, charity work as well. On September the 10th, Mercury in Libra turns retrograde. Why have I got that? Sorry, I think that's a mistake. Okay. Yeah, Mercury in Libra turns retrograde. Why is it? Okay, sorry, I'm a bit mixed up here. Yes, Mercury in Libra turns retrograde. Okay. So sorry. Okay, September 11th, Sun trines Uranus. That's a break-free, inventive energy. That's 9:09 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. On the 12th, the Sun quincunxes Saturn in Aquarius. Again, there's a lot of these inconjuncts because the signs and the planets are in two different elements and they can't see each other. So again, anytime a planet is quincunx or inconjunct, they're 150 degrees apart and they literally cannot see each other. So again, that's where you have to be careful of our blind spots. Hi, Danielle. Thank you from North Carolina. Very nice to see you. Okay. On the 16th, Venus in Virgo squares Mars in Gemini. So that's a conflict in talking and trying to convey information accurately, of course. But it can also be a spark. When Venus squares Mars, that can also produce sparks for relationships. On September the 16th, Sun opposes Neptune in Pisces. This is very foggy identity. You know, it's like, you may not want to get out of bed. You may want to stay dreaming at that point, you know, because Neptune and Pisces, you know, it dissolves our ego. So it could be a really great day to do spiritual work, to have some kind of epiphanies. That would be nice. To let go of your ego and ask, you know, who am I really? What is my spiritual mission? September 16th, good day for that. Okay, September 17th, Virgin Venus. Quincunx, Chiron and Aries. Again, it can be wounds in love, angry outbursts. You know, Chiron and Aries can be very defensive. Again, embrace the wounded parts of yourself so you can heal them. On the same day, Mars sextiles Chiron and Aries. Quick to anger and run. You know, Mars could be in Aries too, spontaneous. Hi from Quebec, Montreal. Nice to see you. September the 18th, Mercury in Libra opposes Chiron in Aries. So again, lots of wounded energy, lots of aspects to Chiron coming up here. Again, you want to talk about the vulnerabilities. You want to come to a peace treaty, peace meeting, you know, wave the white flag, have a truce here. We want to see each other eye to eye. You know, Libra wants balance, equality in relationships. Also on the 18th, the Sun trines Pluto. That's a big wealth aspect, okay? I mean, the Sun is still in Virgo, so it likes to be on budget. Pluto is the Lord of wealth, of birth and death, transformation. Okay. On the 18th, same aspect, Sun trine Pluto in Greenwich Mean Time. Okay. Where are we here? Where's the rest of this? Okay. Okay. On the 23rd. Okay. Sorry. I got to the 18th, right? Okay. On the 19th, sorry. Okay, I seem to be a little bit confused today. Venus trine Uranus on the 19th. Okay. Again, Venus, the goddess of love. Thank you. Goddess of love, of beauty, of harmony, of the arts. She's trining Uranus in Taurus. So it's a nice earthy trine. Do something different. Think outside the box. You know, break your routine. You know, Uranus in Taurus. Taurus does not like change, of course. But that, again, Uranus cattle prod. Gonna make a change. All right. Also on the 20th. Venus in conjunct Saturn in Aquarius. Again, these inconjuncts over and over and over. So you may be going like, WTF? What is going on here? Again, because these are your blind sides. So how do we find out what we're blind about? You know, this is a very good question to sit with. What am I not seeing? All right, on the 22nd, it is the fall equinox, or called Mabon for pagans. The sun enters Libra, 9:04 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Again, it will be on the 23rd for people in Greenwich Mean Time and in Australia, of course. The sun conjuncts a retrograde Mercury, so there's a Mercury cazimi at 11:50 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. That's where 11 p.m. again, and on the 23rd, the autumn equinox is at 1:04 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, and the cazimi is at 2:50 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Greenwich Mean Time is 4 hours ahead, so 6:50 a.m. Sun retrograde conjunct Mercury cazimi is really good to focus your ideas, to focus, you know, Mercury, your consciousness is at the heart of the sun. So it's a very beautiful energy, actually, whenever that happens. On the 23rd, Mercury enters Virgo, its home sign, again at 8:04 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. On the 24th, Venus opposes Neptune. So Venus represents human love, and Neptune represents spiritual love, cosmic love, unconditional love. So when they're opposite, again, there's that kind of reiteration of the balance there. It's very beautiful. We might want to see where we're out of balance with our projections. That's Neptune and Pisces versus what's real. Okay. Good for any artwork, good for any creativity, meditation, good for sending positive energy out to the world, you know, to meditate our love out to the world, to the earth, right, at that time as well. There's a new moon on September 25th at 5:54 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 2 degrees plus Libra. That's conjunct the super galactic center, which is, I really like to work with galactic astrology. So that's a really powerful, the super galactic center is like drawing every galaxy to it. So I would use that new moon of new intention to really put out what you want to attract, okay, on a big level, okay. September 25th, Venus trines Pluto, another wealth aspect here, okay, lots of earthy. So if you've got planets of Earth, again, this is Taurus energy as well. If you're in line with that trine, Pluto's at 26 degrees, 1:46 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on the 26th. Mercury retrograde conjunct Venus in Virgo. Okay, so again, this might be reiterating conversations with lovers, with friends, trying to rebalance things as well. You know, we're rehashing, okay, at that point. On the 26th, the Sun opposes Jupiter. Again, Jupiter, the great benefactor. So when the Sun and Jupiter are opposite, again, this is powerful. It's very positive energy. You want to use that. Okay, use that energy, positive optimism, you know, get that big boost of, yeah. Jupiter and Aries, we're going for it, even though, remember, all those planets are retrograde too. On the 27th, Mercury trines Pluto. Again, it's nice, big, wealthy, positive, earthy, you know, our heads are practical, okay? Again, we can go back and glean things that we may have glossed over or missed before and reintegrate them. We need time to digest. That's very much, you know, Virgo energy, digestion, Mercury back in Virgo. On the 27th, Mars trines Saturn and Aquarius. Now, these are the two malefics, Mars and Saturn. So that could be kind of a difficult day because they're working well together. They're like enemies, you know, in the foxhole in Aquarius. Okay, so watch out for people that are going through their first Saturn return in Aquarius, or even your second Saturn return. Watch out. Just be mindful, you know, on that day. Same thing happens on the 28th in Eastern Daylight Time. And then on the 29th, Venus enters Libra, her home sign, at 3:49 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Okay. So, sorry, I can't, let's see, I have to go back and read some of the comments here. Thank you from North Tonawanda, not very far away on the other side of the lake there. Okay. So, all right, so now what we're going to do, thank you for bearing with me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to smudge my tarot cards here, okay? And then I'm going to pull a card for each sign, okay? So, again, smudging those tarot cards. Okay, take off my glasses too. Okay, so we're moving from the time of Virgo to the time of Libra. So these are the two cards that represent Virgo, the Hermit, and Libra is, you can see that very clearly, Justice. Now, whether it's number 8 or number 11, those are just two different systems. It doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my special crystal here, and I'm going to focus in on Aries. So if you're an Aries sun, moon, rising, even Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, whatever planets, or even asteroids, let's see what Aries is going to have for this month. Okay, so Aries, you get the sign of Libra here. Okay. So again, Aries, you have to remember to stay in balance, or remember it's not just all about you. It is also about the others. So you're not an island. You're not alone. You always have to relate to other people. Okay. So Libra rules beauty, rules balance, rules harmony, rules relationships, the arts, creativity. So you want to make sure that maybe you want to buy some new beauty routine or redo something. Again, remember all those retrograde planets. So it could be relationship issues. It could be, yes, I know it sounds kind of trite, it could be an old relationship coming back with Mercury turning retrograde as well. Okay, so what do you need to find peace in your life is really, or where can you be a peacemaker even? What do you need to initiate to start something new that will bring you more into balance? Okay, all right, so Aries, you get the sign of Libra, could be new relationships starting as well. Okay, all right, so now we get to Taurus. Okay, so Taurus people, let's see what you've got up here. Get all that earthy, nice, trines energy this month should benefit you quite nicely. Okay, you get the number 14 here. Number 14 in the tarot is traditionally called Temperance. So if you use the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the most popular one in the world, it looks quite different. This is quite a popular deck these days, but not traditional. So in this deck, it's called Art. And so it relates to alchemy. So the Temperance is, again, about balance, tempering two different things to make something new. So it is a kind of higher octave of the Lover's card. That's another way of looking at it. So Taurus, again, finding the balance of the complementary opposites within you. I know everybody's trying to stress polarity as an opposition, but there is no opposition. You can't have one without the other. So your own inner, everybody, whatever your gender preference is, description, no gender, everybody has to have some kind of polarity within them because nothing occurs in this universe without polarity. So the Art card is also about alchemy, so about turning lead into gold. And lead is Saturn, of course, and gold is the sun. So working your own inner alchemy, manifesting the gold within, no matter how difficult or hard or whatever tests, limitations, obstacles that Saturn brings up, there is the riches, there is the gold, there is the treasure in there. Okay, so Taurus. This can also mean marriage commitments, love commitments, even business relationships, becoming golden. So it's a sense of like having the Midas touch, but in a positive way. You know what I mean? Or just being positive and optimistic and gratitude, sense of gratitude as well. But it's also good to make art very literally. So Taurus, you're ruled by Venus. Venus loves art. Be creative in every way you can. Okay? All right. So Gemini. Okay, so now for Gemini and Virgo, when Mercury goes retrograde, it is affecting you guys and gals and whatever more than most people. Okay, all right, so Gemini. Okay, so Gemini, you get the universe here. Now, this is the card that represents Saturn. I mean, the reason I use this deck is because it does have the astrological symbols on them. So Gemini, responsibility, okay, growing up, facing the test of time, being practical, being realistic. You may not like it because Gemini likes to be able to, flit around and go from one thing to the next and not be totally committal. But right now, those days are over. So you have to take complete responsibility for creating everything in your life. But it can be a good thing because once you master that you create everything in your life on the material plane, you go, okay, been there, done that. I'm done with all of those old karmic lessons for now. I'm going to move on to new ones, which is very exciting. Okay, so Saturn, again, anything serious, anything real, everything on the third dimension is ruled by Saturn. Okay, so Gemini, realism, no running away, no flip-flopping, got to deal with the stuff. Okay, all right. All right, so Cancer. So Cancer, when the, let's see, the moon is in Pisces, or when it's in Scorpio, the moon is in Scorpio right now, actually, you're affected the most. Okay, so Cancer, you get the card of the Emperor here, or the King. Now, this is like Aries energy. So because this is a cardinal sign, you're a cardinal sign, and the sun is going to enter Libra, which is a cardinal sign, you need to pay attention more because it's more of a new initiation. Like I mentioned, we're moving into the last quarter of the year on the equinox. But so for Cancer, this is your own inner king or your own inner mastery or your boss or, being the boss at home, making sure that you are in control, are responsible, that you have your sovereignty. It's a big word that people use these days. So using your sovereignty, your kingship, again, it's kind of maturity, responsibility. Cancer can be literally a man in your life. It can be your partner if you're whatever, whatever gender, your partner, a man in your life, a boss, somebody who's got respect, kind of, because the king, you got to respect the king here. So your own inner masculine has to be in control, Cancer. Now, Cancers often have a tendency to never be able to ask for help. Okay, so this might be your own inner masculine maybe needs to draw some boundaries for you because the number 4 is about power and it's about using the 4 elements. So you got to remember that as well. So the king. Okay, all right. All right, so now we're at Leo. Okay, so Leo. Let's see what you got going on. Okay, Leo. Okay, So Leo, we get the card of your opposite, interestingly enough, which is the star. So the number 17 here, the star is clearly Aquarius energy. Yeah, and so, as Saturn's moving through the last degrees of Aquarius right now, it affects, again, Leo's at the last degrees, so you're getting Saturn opposition in general. But Leo, it's about, dreaming, big cosmic, how can I fulfill my cosmic mission? I love this card because it really shows the star as this goddess kind of reaching up to the stars and gathering in that cosmic energy. If you want to take the position of this card, I really love this one as a meditation card. Go out at night, look at the stars. You can still see stars even in the city here. If you're lucky to be in a dark place, you can see all the stars. Go out and imagine that you're out in the stars, and you imagine that you are one of those stars. You go out there and you breathe in. Aquarius, it's an air sign. Breathing in cosmic soul energy and just breathing it in, letting it go through your heart, and you're going to bring that down and release it to the earth. So the big question, Leo, is what is my higher mission here? Okay. How can I change the world for the better? How can I bring freedom and revolution and invention? So it can be a very good positive sign for you. It's really about wishing on the stars. And I know, Leo, you think you are the star, and you are a star, of course. But maybe you have to help other stars. It's Aquarius. It's not just about yourself. It's about working with the collective. Okay. So Leo, how can you help promote or support other people as well? Okay. So Leo, be the star that you are and help others to be stars too. Okay. All right. So now we get to Virgo. Okay, now, we're still in Virgo, and Virgo is very much in the forefront right now. Let's see, Virgo. You get the number 15 here, which is the devil. Now, again, this is Capricorn energy, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, just as the last card Aquarius was as well, traditionally. So, Virgo, all right, so you're going to have to deal with your own inner demons, and Virgos have a lot of demons because they worry about every little thing. So maybe you want to look at your OCD-ness and why you worry so much, and how you can come to a place of peace. I would say it has to do with, being traumatized, and everybody's talking about intergenerational trauma, and so it does affect our health, it affects our bodies, it affects our work, it affects everything, and so you have to look at how you may be undermining yourself and being your own worst critic. Okay, that's the devil. The devil tries to seduce you into thinking, oh, I have to do more, be better, be more perfect. And you're going to drive yourself crazy, and then the devil's laughing at you. So Virgo, the devil is also not real, okay? So maybe you shouldn't buy into the illusion of the physical world so much, okay? Because Virgo is very much, in that physical world. But you also have to remember that you're really a spiritual being having this temporary physical experience, okay? So whatever is bothering you or bedeviling you or what you're projecting onto other people, these are your own issues that you need to integrate. So this can be very healing for you, Virgo. Better the devils you know than the ones you don't, okay? Wherever you have Virgo in your chart, you might want to look at, what am I projecting out onto everybody else? That's really my own stuff, my own shadows, right? While Pluto's in Capricorn, we're doing the last of the big, heavy shadow work now. The whole world that's the collective, okay? So each person just needs to do their part of this. So Virgo, nobody can be perfect. I think that's the first thing, is to realize that while we're in these human forms, nobody's going to be perfect. So just, let go of that, okay? And maybe not take everything so seriously. All right, Virgo, the devil. All right. Okay, now Libra. So as we're going into Libra, it's going to be your turn to shine. Also with Venus and Libra, Libras get all the love. So Libra, you get the number 2 here, which is the High Priestess. So this is the card of dreaming. Again, balance. The 2s are always balanced. There's always self and other. So this is the point. She holds the veil between the worlds. Okay. So Libra, maybe it doesn't have to be that, again, oppositional. There's always this interconnection. For Libras, it's telling you to listen to your intuition. Libra's an air sign, and so they're always kind of in their heads. They want to talk about relationships. They want to think about them, analyze them. This is going into the, if you see the High Priestess or all number 2s as representing both sides of consciousness, then, there's the rational and the intuitive, and you have to use both, okay? It also gives you great emotional strength, this card, to carry on, even if you don't have support from other people. Now, Libras always need archetypally to be in relationships, but if you find yourself alone, and a lot of people have been alone and still integrating that, then look at the strength that you've had to carry on. Look at the strength that has gotten you through these rough parts, okay? The High Priestess always asks you to remember your dreams, Libra. So pay attention to your dreams, write them down, record them. You can also incubate your dreams. It's also very much about working with the moon cycles. Now, this card is more to do with the new moon, so pay attention to the new moon first, because that's where you're going to set new intentions, and also the full moon as well. Those are times to pause and reflect. And for Libra, this is a reflection time, especially again with Mercury retrograde. Okay, so what's behind the veil that you're not seeing? You know, it could be things in yourself that you're not seeing. So really use this time to see beyond the veil of illusion and what's really going on deep down. Okay, all right. So Scorpio. Now the moon is in Scorpio. Hi from Sacramento. See you here. All right, so Scorpio. With the moon in Scorpio, I find, you know, it is the most emotionally intense time of the month. It's great for cutting your hair. If you want your hair to grow back fast, you cut your moon while you cut your hair while the moon is in Scorpio. Okay, so Scorpio, you get the number 7 here, which is the card called the Chariot, and it is like the sign of Cancer. So again, for Scorpio, this is very watery. You have to nurture yourself. You have to remother yourself. You have to rebirth yourself right now. So, you know, you need to feel like you're emotionally in the driver's seat, Scorpio. Okay, now this can really pertain to issues with family or power, control, secrets, manipulation in your family, issues that are going on right now. I know we go through the heaviest issues with our families usually. It can be boundaries. It's very protective. The card of the Chariot is something called the Merkaba, which is a 3-dimensional time travel device. John Below Melchizedek talks about it. It's talked about in different realms as well. It is the throne of God in a sense as well. So you need to be able to sit on the highest hierarchies, you know. And I love the symbol of this golden armored charioteer. So I would recommend, Scorpio, that you wear this golden armor with, it's got the 12 jewels, which represent the 12 signs of the zodiac. It's very, very metaphysical. This card, you can see it's got the sign of Cancer, the crab on its head as well. And the Chariot can be also seen as a victory lap. So Scorpio, what do you have to feel, you know, victorious about? So this card also, just to give you a little heads up, 2023 is going to be a number 7 year. So we're all going to be working with this energy of Cancer, the deep ocean of the unconscious, with the ancestors, with the grandmothers, the womb energy, healing the womb, and feeling safe. You know, it's Cancer energy. What do you need to feel safe and secure? Okay, Scorpio. I know you came here to do a lot of very deep emotional work. So this is getting back to the, I would say, the womb of the Great Mother. You know, if you've had a difficult relationship with your mom, a pre-uterine experience going back, the intergenerational trauma, and this is when you go back to the Great Mother and really heal yourself, Scorpio. So wherever you have Scorpio in your chart, you might want to look at this card, the number 7. And 7 also has to do with divine timing. There are 7 days of the week, 7 traditional planets. So knowing when the timing is right to move ahead. And also, as you go through the ups and downs, those waves in life, you have to remember that if you go down, if you get real depressed, and Scorpios can get depressed very easily, it's just part of the wave. You know, you have to go down to come up. So just remember to ride that wave. Okay. All right. So Sagittarius. So Saggies, what have you got going on here? Okay. Hi from Massachusetts. Hi from Australia. Nice to see everybody here. Love to connect with you. I feel you all. Okay, so Sagittarius. Sagittarius, you get the Fool. Okay, so the Fool, 0 is the beginning and also the ending. It's also 22. So this can be seen as a completion time in your life. Also as a brand new beginning. Whenever the Fool shows up, it is time to be fully in the now. The Fool is divine wisdom. It is the wise Fool. It's the symbol of enlightenment. The Fool doesn't worry about the past or the future. It just remains totally in the now. So ruled by Jupiter, the Fool really goes with the sign of Sag because it's about humor. You know, the Fool or the trickster is always poking fun at people. So don't take yourself so seriously, Sag. Lighten up, be the fool, make people laugh, have some pratfalls. Laugh at yourself when you back into walls or you do something silly. I'm a double Sag. Have to laugh at myself too. So again, brand new beginning. So while Mercury's retrograde, I would say, rethink about whatever you want to start again once Mercury moves direct. Also, don't worry about what other people think. Don't be such a hard judge on yourself. Sagittarians can be very critical, actually. I will continue. Somebody's asking to pick a card for them. I can't usually do that, but whatever sign you are, just pay attention to whatever card I'm pulling here. Okay, so the Fool, the Divine Fool. 22, the number 22 this year, we're all kind of having to be fools this year as well. I just want to remark on this card. And the sacredness of the number 22 is a master number. Be the fool, live fully in the moment. Okay? All right, Sag. All right, so Capricorn. Okay, Capricorn's right here. Somebody's saying it's their rising sign. Okay, so Capricorn. Capricorn gets the number 9 here, the Hermit. Now, this is the sign of Virgo. So as we're in the sign of Virgo, as Mercury is going to come back to Virgo, this is a time to retreat, Capricorn. Take stock, go within. You remember all those retrograde planets. You're going to have to pay attention to what you've harvested. That's karma. It's like what you sow is what you reap. And so, hi from the Philippines. So for everybody who has Capricorn planets, or Capricorn also has to do with your career. So this is taking stock of your career. Are you happy with your work? A lot of people are signing off and going to do things on their own and going solo. Again, it has to do with this time of year as well. And your health. If your work is making you sick, it's not worth it. Your health comes first. So Capricorn, how are your guts feeling? How are your knees feeling? Capricorn is ruled by its knees. So again, lots of being very particular, being very perfectionist. It's a good thing. Being very professional in a way as well. Could be a time to just stop and take a breather, again, with all the Mercury retrograde planets and stuff, and take stock before you move on. Traditionally, the harvest also has to do with keeping track of everything. What they call it, inventory. Take an inventory of everything on all levels, and listen to your own inner wisdom. The Hermit is really a very protective card, and the Hermit is your own inner light, your inner guide. It is your gut wisdom. So pay attention to that. Wow, hi from Alaska and Brazil. Great people from all over the world. Okay, so Aquarius. All right, Aquarius. All right, so Aquarius. Okay, we get the number 12 here, which is the Hangman. Now, I just realized that this card doesn't show up very much. It's kind of interesting. All right, so Aquarius, the Hangman. Now, this is a very complex card. It's one of the 3 what they call maternal letter cards. One of them has come up, which was the Fool. Okay, so the Hangman, the number 12. Aquarius, what's hanging you up right now? Now, Saturn could be that. It's about not being the martyr, or not being the scapegoat, or not taking the blame for something that you didn't do. Aquarius is about breaking free. So the Hangman is about turning things totally backwards or upside down, so you can see things in a totally different way. It is called an emotional baptism card. Aquarius tends to be, detached. I mean, they're not really, they just act detached. But deep down, what's going on for you emotionally? Maybe you've been sacrificing your emotions or not listening to your emotions, and that's hanging you up on some level that you're not aware of. This can also be a sense of letting go. So Aquarius, what do you need to let go of? Remember, Saturn's also nearing its last degrees of Aquarius, and it will enter Pisces on March the 7th, 2023. So you could see this card as an ending of a cycle as well, the number 12. Again, not getting entangled with things, just seeing things from a totally different perspective. Okay, so Aquarius. All right, Hangman. Okay, now Pisces. Okay, so we're at Pisces already. Somebody asked, did I do Virgo? I'm pretty sure I did Virgo. All right. All right, so Pisces. All right, so here, interesting that I mentioned that the 3 maternal letters. Now, this is the 3rd one. So this is the number 20 in the tarot. So all three of these special cards have shown up during this time here. Pisces, this is a card of rebirth. Okay, so rebirth, the Aeon. This was labeled the Aeon or the New Age when it was prophesied. It is rebirth for everybody. So Pisces, again, as we complete the cycle of this year, you have to remember, you know, what do I need to finish up? What do I need to complete here? How do I give birth to myself? Again, this is a sense of rebirth, listening to your inner child. Whenever the child shows up, this is your inner child that needs to play, that needs to be nurtured, that needs to be nursed and held safe. So Pisces, if you're going through some of those issues, again, inner child work would be very good. You want to play, you want to lighten up. So what are you giving birth to in a new way in your life right now, Pisces? Okay. Listen to your inner child. Maybe you have been ignoring it too much. Play with the inner child. This can also mean literally children coming into your life through work, um, through family, through your own life. Okay. So giving birth. So wherever you have Pisces in your life, this is the inner wisdom of the child. The child is like the fool in a way, like the myth of the emperor's new clothes. The child says the king is naked. He's not wearing any clothes. So the child has that infinite wisdom of seeing things exactly as they are before they're programmed, actually. Okay, so you want to go back to that innocence, Pisces, and trusting your own innocence, which may need to be healed right now. Okay, so if you want to find out what all the signs said, I'm going to stop this soon. I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. Join the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. Read Time Lords magazine. It's a great magazine. And go to the lectures that Cosmic Intelligence Agency has. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm at tarot.com. Wishing you all the best blessings for September and for the change of the seasons as we get into the autumn equinox. So thank you very much. Okay, wishing you all the best blessings. See you next month. Okay, thanks from Melbourne, and thanks everybody for joining us. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.